Okay, Jared Cannonier says that he is back and ready to go for UFC 300. I love this. I love that Jared Cannonier is back. I do not love the idea of Jared Cannonier on UFC 300, you know? There are some names like Bilal Muhammad, Jared Cannonier, these sort of names that just, imagine if they put Merab Dvalishvili to headline UFC 300. They just don't feel right for an event that big. But I do like that Jared Cannonier is back and ready to go, and that is exactly what we are going to talk about in this video, because there has been so much talk of Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis for UFC 300, or just Israel Adesanya as the next fight for Dricus du Plessis at middleweight, and I don't like that at all, man. Like, Israel Adesanya got dominated in his last fight. Yes, losing every single round is being dominated. That's not a fluke. And he is 1-3. He's only won one fight in his last 3 fights. He does not deserve a title shot. But having said that, Dricus versus Izzy is a super marketable fight for the UFC. So I understand why they're doing it. It doesn't sit right with me, okay? And then there's also been all this talk of the much needed rematch between Sean and DDP. And the question is there, like, how woke is the UFC going to be going forward? I mean, look how many WMMA fights we already have now on UFC 300. And quite frankly, Sean Strickland is a marketing nightmare for the UFC. I love Sean. I love what he says. But if you are marketing the UFC, if you are in the ESPN boardroom or the UFC boardroom, you're looking at the next video game DLC and you're going, how are we going to put Sean Strickland on this video game? He can't be marketed. And that is a problem for a company that wants to make money. So what do you do about that? But the old dog at middleweight, Jared Cannonier, has rocked back up. Now, firstly, the guy is 40 years old and he's on the other side of 40 years old. You know, he's not creeping up to it. He's hit it and now he's starting to roll down that hill. And he has just had knee surgery and he's ready to come back. And I mean, he is rightfully the right #1 contender, yeah? I mean, he has actually won 2 fights in a row. He got a win over the now previous champion, Sean Strickland. But as we were saying at the start, guys, like Jared Cannonier for UFC 300 main event, it just doesn't feel right. But there is someone out there who Jared did call out, and that's Khamzat Chimaev. Now, the company clearly loves Khamzat Chimaev. And obviously there is a certain type of fan, the Muslim fan base, that love Khamzat Chimaev. And I enjoy Khamzat. I enjoy watching him fight. But a large majority of the fan base and the fighters, they all sort of know that he hasn't earned a title shot, okay? Now, Khamzat versus Cannonier, that is a fight for Khamzat. That is a super winnable fight in the rankings at middleweights. And I'm not saying winnable because Jared Cannonier is bad, right? Like, I don't want to downplay Cannonier. He's a fantastic fighter. The amount of pace and power that he brings is phenomenal. But the dude is on the other side of 40, yeah? And now he's had this recent knee surgery. He's going to go back into the cage. How well do you really heal from an MCL? Like, how well do you really heal from surgery at 40? And I mean heal up to the level that a professional athlete at the highest level needs to be. You know, like, I'm sure it heals up fine, just fine. But to heal up the way that it was before, to keep winning in a division that is really now at a stage of grinding out the fighters, like, it is not an easy division to be in at the moment. Every single fight is going to be a tough fight. How hard is that going to be, you know? And then the other side of it is the excitement level of Jared Cannonier. You know, apart from his last fight, he's never really been that exciting to watch. I mean, and again, that goes without, you know, his last fight against Marvin Vettori. Like, he was beating the living piss out of Vettori. And if Vettori didn't have, like, the chin of concrete marble, like the old Chad Roman chin, Vettori would have easily gone down. I think Jared Cannonier broke the significant strike record for, like, in the 4th round or something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure he put on a record-breaking pace on Marvin Vettori, which is just incredible. If it wasn't for Vettori's chin, that would have been a TKO. So well done for Vettori. But that fight does bring some excitement to the Jared Cannonier name, because everything before that, it was sort of still just that snooze fest, plod along, put out the jab, and all we can remember is his fight with Israel Adesanya, which was Horrible. So the question is, what would I do if I was the UFC matchmakers, right? If I was in charge of the UFC, how would I be playing out middleweight going forward? I would 100% be rebooking Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. And Disney can just go and suck on a fat one, okay? And I'd make that the main event for UFC 300. Done. That's what I would do. I don't care how many people hate Sean Strickland over on the marketing side. The fans love him, and it's the fans that matter. So then I would also be booking in Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 3. I want to know which one of the old guard has still got it. They were two blokes at the top of that division for so long, and the last time they fought, it was neck and neck. According to my scorecards, Robert Whittaker won that fight. So I am going to keep pushing for Izzy versus Whittaker 3, and to me, that makes for an awesome, awesome arena fight night headliner. Bang, done. The fight nights going past UFC 300 are going to be absolute dog shit. So that fight right there saves it. And then I would be booking Khamzat Chimaev versus Jared Cannonier for the Saudi card fight night headliner. And then once all the dust has settled and we have the winners of those fights and we see who is the least injured out of all those fights and what storylines play out, we have a very clear number one contender for the champ, whether that champ is Dricus du Plessis or Sean Strickland. Even if, and I mean, if I was in charge of the UFC matchmaking, I could foresee this scenario playing out as well. Even if Dricus and Sean turn out to be the next Davidson versus Moreno. You know, that sort of pair that are so close to each other, that Volk and Holloway, they're so close to each other that it's just replay, rematch, rematch. And while that is happening, you could put the winner of Chimaev Cannonier and the winner of Izzy Whittaker together as dance partners to just give middleweight some time to breathe while Sean and Dricus work themselves out. You know, I mean, just look at how close the first fight was that we just watched. People are still divided over that. Dricus did win it on the night. It is what it is, Sean fans. Suck it up. There should be a rematch. But it was so close. It was one of the closest fights that we have ever seen. And yeah, I mean, that should absolutely be a rematch. And I could see that having to have another rematch after that until we finally get a clear winner out of the two of them. Just like how Volkanovski pulled away from Holloway eventually. So Cannonier being back, it really does. It helps fix everything because we have this, it's not a log jam, but it's an uncertainty of contenders. Everyone other than Cannonier has now got a loss, and Chimaev hasn't got a ranked win at middleweight. I mean, if this was the PFL, yeah, if this was the PFL, it should be Cannonier just walking right into a title shot. But like we said, that doesn't feel right, you know? And then with Chimaev, everyone knows he can't just walk into a title shot either. He's sort of just rocked up and expected to be the most popular guy in the room. Like, sorry, brother. Sorry. It doesn't work that way, brother. I think it should be Cannonier versus Chimaev next. And Cannonier will either fraud check Chimaev or get ragdolled and submitted straight away. And that will answer every single question about Chimaev at 185. That would solve, like, what do we do about Chimaev with both scenarios? Like, what do you do with Chimaev? The answer is Jared Cannonier. And if Chimaev doesn't accept this fight, if he is all talk, like, I kill everybody, brother. I kill everybody, but no one wants to fight me, brother. And Jared is like, I'll fight you. And Chimaev is like, oh, Ramadan, brother. Sorry, brother, Ramadan. If that happens, oh my God, Chimaev is on the list, man. He's on the list. The Murab Divilashvili list, the Sean Brady list, the Bilal Muhammad list, the John Jones list, the Paulo Costa list, that list of fighters that Doug hates and wants to see lose. Chimaev is this close to being on that list. Take a fight, man. Take a fight. Stop talking. Stop talking like you're the champ. You're not the champ. You drew with Usman on 11 days notice off the couch with no knees. You got a draw. That's not a champ. Calm down, Doug. Calm down. God. Chimaev. Anyway, that is what I see next for Jared Cannonier. Let me know, where do you want to see him next? Put it down there in the comments. If you're still here, maybe you've enjoyed this video in some little way. So if you could go ahead and say thank you by hitting that subscribe button down there, it means so much to small creators like myself. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one.